Can Batman and Mr. Freeze work together long enough to stop Nora's rampage across Gotham City? Well, let's hop into the pages of Detective Comics number 1016 and find out. Alrighty then, so as you may recall in the last issue, Mr. Freeze and Batman, rocking his brand new Inferno batsuit, had cornered the new Mrs. Freeze at the graveside of her parents. Only by the time we start reading this issue, that's just kinda not the case anymore. I guess she wandered off in between issues or something. It's very strange. Also in the last issue, we saw Nora create some sort of grandiose ice mausoleum for her parents. Well, it seems she made one for Victor too, a way of saying in so many words, "Hey dude, you're dead to me." Now, Victor theorizes that he may finally know what exactly went wrong with Nora's unfreezing process, that the same serum that Apex Lex had gifted to him was also derived from a serum that, get this, was used to create the New 52 version of Bizarro. Yeah, I bet you didn't expect that kind of connection in this story, did you? I know I didn't. So the question then becomes, if our heroes are going to track Nora down, they have to first figure out, who is she? What is she into? Where is she going next? Which are difficult questions because, well, Nora Fries doesn't have much of a character, honestly. I mean, most of what we as comic readers know about Nora, we only know through the eyes of Victor himself, and God bless Tomasi here, he's going out of his way to invent a bunch of new stuff as quickly as he can. She was a ballerina, her parents are dead, she loves museums, well, one particular museum piece because it is of a ballerina. Mrs. Freeze also has no qualms about killing, and not only freezes solid a bunch of security guards at the museum, but even turns their body parts into gross tableaus. It's like something out of Hannibal. Batman and Mr. Freeze managed to track Mrs. Freeze down, and this final fight scene is actually a little hilarious to me, maybe unintentionally so, as Batman more or less becomes the third wheel on a date that's become really awkward because the couple is fighting. Nora admittedly gets a couple good low blows in on Mr. Freeze throughout the fight, saying that she's tired of being suffocated by his love. And then maybe the main reason he's afraid to let her go here and now isn't because he loves her so much, but because what would Mr. Freeze be without Nora? Well, nothing. He's defined himself by his love for his wife for so long. Heck, she's not even above using some real dirty tricks and psychological warfare. There's a second there when it seems like Batman may actually have gotten the drop on her and tries to restrain her with a thermo rope that will raise her temperature and in doing so incapacitate her. Nora cries out for Victor though, saying, "Stop him, dear, he's hurting me," which of course Mr. Freeze ends up falling for instantly because he's still a lovesick idiot at the end of the day. It's here in the last few pages, though, the comic really takes a turn for the tragic, and in my mind actually puts in the best work overall. You see, Nora manages to get Victor to put his guard down long enough so she can infect him with a serum of her own. This will raise his temperature until he either can get back to a sub-zero environment or die, basically undoing all the good work that Lex's serum did for him. This also means Batman is caught in a catch-22 situation as well. Does he chase after Mrs. Freeze and try and bring her to justice, or does he try and save the life of Victor? Obviously, Batman chooses life. But, and you're gonna love this, the only way to make sure Mr. Freeze can live is to essentially put him in the same sort of cryo-sleep that his wife was in. Meaning that despite how hard he fought and everything he did and all the lives that were lost, history has now repeated itself, only in the reverse. Batman opines that this turn of events may actually have been sadder than anything that could have happened. At least when Nora was in cryo-sleep, she had someone to love her. Who does Mr. Freeze have? Nobody, as the comic comes to a close. And so that was Detective Comics number 1016, and overall it was an alright finale to what I thought was a pretty interesting story arc, but not my favorite overall. I do think the idea of bringing Nora Fries back to life and then turning her into a villain and then having Mr. Freeze have to work with Batman to stop her is pretty genius overall. But there was just a couple roadblocks that felt like they just never got overcome. Maybe if this storyline was a little longer, maybe if we actually had a bit of an origin story from Nora's perspective, then maybe things would have been a little different, but in the end, it just felt, I don't know, a little half-formed. That's not to say I didn't enjoy it. The last few pages in particular I thought were really strong. This issue also does seem to try and put in place a brand new status quo where Mrs. Freeze is the main cold-themed Batman villain and Mr. Freeze himself is going to stay on ice for the foreseeable future. I can also respect Tomasi too for not giving an absolutely 100% definitive answer to whether or not Nora went evil due to her own actions or because her mind was actually messed with. Ultimately, though, I can only give this issue a 7 out of 10. Interested for the next arc, though. It's going to be a Batman and Robin reunion, which I'm totally excited for.
Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest. That's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.